Wow, a couple tough acts to follow here. 3 tough acts. It's always good to hear great stuff happening out in Indian country. Really gives me hope, and I guess, when our people back home, they hear stories like that, they have that hope. And a lot of times, if our peoples don't have that hope, then oppression sets in. As you know, my home back in Flambeau was hit with these drugs and different things too, like a lot of the other tribes. And we're just kind of finishing up our second year of our state of emergency that we've been in. This last year, we're kind of working through what's called a state of recovery. And we've seen a lot of great things. We're starting to see the fruits of our labor, I guess, as far as, being able to help heal our people, help them recover, and help them want to be in this workforce that we're talking about today. As we speak today, our LDF construction company that we started has probably about a dozen gentlemen and some women, few women that work within our LDF construction company. That right now today they're building a community-based residential facility on my Lac de Flambeau reservation. It's on a campus that we're starting, and it's right out on one of our 168 lakes on our reservation. We also just received a WEDA grant where we'll be building or working on this supportive housing, 24 supportive housing units, and trying to heal our people there too. You hear through some of the tone and through some of the voice up here today about breaking down barriers to employment, and really kind of how do we get our people to work? How do we inspire them? How do we motivate our peoples to want to get into this employment field, get into this workforce? And, my panel people here discussed a few of these things, and they talked about the daycare, the simple things. Yet, I'll tell you what, we've seen a lot of our men and women kind of push a job off to the side because they couldn't find daycare, she mentioned, transportation, that have these AODA issues. They didn't have work clothes, they didn't have work boots, And one of the most important things that really we need to build up in our people is is a work ethic. Some of our peoples, or younger peoples, they need to know what that means when they start into this employment world that they're going to be hopping into. So, I was writing down a few things that we're involved with back home. And, I like to share too, because, like I said, it inspires hope amongst others. And, I go home and share different stories like I heard today and talk with my council back home. And, I got a few of them here today. Eric and Frank are here. And, we've come together as a team back home and really trying to speak from the same page as far as job development and creating jobs and getting our people back to work. I'm also the Tribal Employment Rights Officer back home, and during the course of my job, my full-time job, we've been able to participate and start this Tribal Labor Advisory Committee in the state of Wisconsin. And all the tribes are invited. We meet bi-monthly, and we talk a lot. To the first morning session, we meet with all the different people involved with the Workforce Investment Act, the Tribal Development, Work and Job Development Opportunity people. But then the second part of the afternoon, we bring people from the industry in to shake hands and kind of rub elbows with our members. So, they have an opportunity to network and meet people where they hope to go to work. And that's kind of what we've done with the Tribal Labor Advisory Committee. We've been fortunate to bring in about, go around $400,000 over the next couple of years to provide a job for a coordinator for that, Tribal Labor Advisory Committee. And things are going well. it wasn't too long ago back home here where the Native American hiring provision through the Department of Transportation was suspended. And, we were wondering why. We sat there with the secretary for the state and, felt like kicking him in the shin under the table at times, but couldn't do that. But we talked and we worked our way through these issues. And, it boiled down to the tribes not being able to provide a skilled workforce. And I'll tell you what, as tribal leaders and as advocates for our people trying to get back into the workforce field, if we don't, provide this capacity building back home and continue to do it, efforts like rewriting this Native American hiring provision are all for naught. So what we've done with that is we've been able to get our peoples involved with this trans program back home with the DOT. They're doing some great things there now too, where we were fortunate enough to have, I think it's an 8-week course, and it teaches that work ethic that I talk about, and it's for road construction jobs. We were fortunate to have 12 graduates finish this trans program when we were rolling out the pilot project, this Highway 47 pilot project, going through our reservation there. And a lot of these graduates were able to go right to work and on the road that summer, and some of them were hired beyond that and are still working today on the roads. We had an opportunity, and what we do now is we do some trucking with some of our coaxial trucks, working with some of these non-native companies that we've established these relationships and really kind of nice partnerships with, where our trucks and our truck drivers are going off res now and making money for these Chimukamans out there. And it's a good thing. We're bringing money home to our program, and we got guys working. It's a win-win. Also through the DOT and some committed people back home, like also they've supported me in laying out this commercial driver's license program and this surveying program. Oftentimes you see our people just holding flags on these jobs, and we want to do much more than that. We also, to get them going further to building that capacity, we also are starting with our youth when they're young with this youth apprenticeship program in the high schools, where they're able to go ahead and grab and earn some credits and also make some money at the same time. They follow into this Wisconsin apprenticeship program where they're able to run some of this heavy equipment and different things, and really are afforded some great opportunities in employment that they might not have. We'll have a few graduates coming out there this year. Some of them are 3-4 year programs, but when they finish, they have a job that they can go work anywhere in the country at and really make a good wage. So that's some exciting stuff too that has happened back home by us. I do want to mention a few things about this Vilas County Jail initiative that we also have, and some other things that were created through this state of emergency that I talked about. But our people that are in these jails now, and your members too, they're sober when they're there, whether they like it or not, they're just sober. And they dream of changes, and they have that hope, and they fall asleep at times at night or morning and thinking about how they're going to make these changes in their life. And so it's a great opportunity to hop in and provide this treatment that we bring in a New Day out of Berga. We have our counselors there that are providing this treatment, so getting them to stay on that red road is important. We also provide opportunities to finish up their GED and HSED, and while they're in jail. Now, this initiative isn't just for our tribal members; it's also for the non-Indians that are in jail in Vilas County in Wisconsin. So we provide this education, the job training, and then we when they're ready to get out, in order to beat that recidivism bug and have them fall into the same traps, There was that missing piece there, that if you weren't there to grab their hand and take them to people in the industry and connect them to them jobs, they were going to fall back into the same cracks. A very important piece. So we've kind of worked this all through, and we're bringing our people out of these things sober, and they're going to work. So, I mean, it's some exciting things back home. And a few other things that they wanted me to speak about here today was this leadership building capacity back home for this candidate endorsement training program that we have. Trying to build up some skills in our candidates that are going to run for office. You know, there's a lot of people that can talk a good game. Everybody's got them back home. But when we make them talk to the issues and the needs of your tribes, then they become, you know, educated on them issues, and they really speak with some cause. So, I mean, this thing here, it's kind of like a friendly debate almost, where the same questions are afforded to these candidates, and, you know, people are buying into this concept also. These life coaches that we started out training, and they provide a holistic approach to creating these job opportunities also. They're an advocate for different peoples that are looking for, you know, what services are available to them. How do we do an interview? You know, a lot of people's writing resumes and stuff like that. It's like the 101 out of finding a job. A lot of people really don't. You get them into a situation where they have to write a resume, and they're kind of frightened. I mean, so, you know, they maybe have never done that before. You know, certainly being in an interview for the first time, everybody's kind of nervous, you know. But how do you get over that little hump? So that's kind of what these life coaches do. They provide that training, and you know, we've been seeing some success with that. So I think that's pretty much what I have to share here right now for with the points that they wanted me to bring up. But let's not forget that if back home, if we don't inspire our members and our peoples back home, that if we don't motivate them, and if we don't simply take them barriers away to employment, they're not gonna be able to go to work. The simple things, you know. So I say miigwech.